All right, this is the word problems for 2-6. So we need to be able to use a quadratic formula. We also need to be able to interpret the discriminant for these as well, okay, depending on what the question is asking. Okay, so the first one here, Dion throws a ball into the air. The height of the ball, h, in meters at time t seconds. So height is in h, is in meters, and seconds. Time is our x-axis in seconds. Okay, is modeled by our following function. H of t equals negative 5t squared plus t plus 4. When will the ball hit the ground? So the ball is going to hit the ground at a height of 0. So our height here is going to be 0 plus t plus 4. So we're going to substitute in 0 for our height. And then from there, we're just using the quadratic formula. We're going to solve for the value of t using our quadratic formula, opposite of b, plus or minus. You could also try factoring too, but I'm going to use quadratic formula here because this is the section on quadratic formula. All over 2a. Okay. A is going to be negative 5. B is going to be 1, positive 1. And then C is going to be positive 4. All right, we're going to substitute these values in. So we get negative 1 plus or minus square root. Okay. 1 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times 4. Okay. All over 2 times negative 5. All right. So we get negative 1 plus or minus square root. So 1 squared, this is going to be 20. 8 is going to give me 81 if I put this all in the calculator. Okay, what I'm putting in the calculator is all of this. Right, 1 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times 4, I should get 81. Okay, all over negative 10. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Okay, the square root of 81 is 9, so it gets negative 1 plus or minus 9 divided by negative 10. So this is going to give me negative 1 plus 9 over 10, negative 10. And then negative 1 minus 9 over negative 10. So this is going to give me 8 over negative 10, which is 4/5, negative 4/5, right? Because you got a negative. And over here, we're going to get negative 10 over negative 10, which is going to give me positive 1. So over here, we're going to have negative 4/5. And over here, we're going to have positive 1. So when will the ball hit the ground, right? It doesn't make sense to say negative 4/5 of a second, right? You can't have a negative time here. So it's going to be positive 1 second. All right. Now let's look at what the next one's asking. Okay, the next one, we're just going to use the discriminant. We don't need to use the whole quadratic formula. So Dion throws the ball into the air, the height h of the ball in meters. So again, same thing, height and time is modeled by the function h of t equals negative 5t squared plus 2t plus 39. Will the ball reach the height of 38 meters? So if it's going to ask us, is the ball going to reach a height of 38 meters? What we have to do is we have to find the discriminant. Okay, so first thing we want to do, though, is we want to plug in or substitute in 38 for the height. We want to see 38 is our height. So minus 5t squared plus 2t plus 39. Okay. And we want to solve this, so we need it to be equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 38 from both sides. So we're going to get 0 equals negative 5t squared plus 2t. And this is going to be plus 1. All right. So what we've done now is we've taken our parabola and we've shifted it down 38 units, right? We shifted it down 38 units. That's what we did here. All right. So when we find the discriminant, if the discriminant is positive, that means we have this new, if we graph this as a function, right? It's still going to be above the x-axis, which means when you move it back up 38, we will have gotten that high, right? If the discriminant is going to be negative, it won't move up above 38. So let's do it first, and then we'll look at what it looks like. Okay. So we're going to use our, we're just finding the discriminant. B squared minus 4AC. So that's going to be 2 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times 1. That's going to be 4 minus plus 20, which is going to give me 24, positive 24, right? Right. A is negative 5, B is 2, C is 1. Okay, so we're good there. So since B squared minus 4AC is greater than 0, then we're going to have real solutions, which means the graph is going to look something like this, where it's going to have real solutions, okay? Which means if we reverse this and instead of subtracting 38, we add the 38 back, we're going to shift this graph up 38. And since we're above 0, when we shift it up 38, we're going to be above 38, which means that, yes, the ball will reach that height. So it will reach that height because our discriminant is equal to 24. Okay. If the discriminant was less than, so we'll do another one over here. Okay. So here, let's say this is our original, right up here. Okay. If we found that our b squared minus 4ac was less than 0, that means there's no real solutions. So when we bring this back up, it's not going to get 38 units above 0, so we're not going to reach the height of 38. Okay. All right. Okay, this one here, you're just going to have to try different solutions. So we can start you off with A, right? So for example, A is 30 feet. So we have our function. We're going to substitute in 30 equals negative 16t squared plus 70t plus 5. We need to subtract 30 from both sides because it needs to be equal to 0 in order to solve. Plus 70 minus 25. And then we can use our quadratic formula to solve, right? Opposite of b plus or minus square root. Okay, and we're going to approximate this answer. Okay, so we're going to round to the 10th place. So let's fill it in first. Opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so a is going to be negative 16. B is going to be 70, and C is going to be negative 25. Okay, so this is going to be negative 70 plus or minus square root 70 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 25 all over 2 times negative 16. Okay, I'm going to put this part in my calculator. Okay. So 70 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times negative 25. And we get 3,300. So I get negative 70 plus or minus square root of 3,300 all over negative 32. Okay, and then I'm just going to find the answer for both. Negative 70 plus square root of 3,300 over negative 32. And then negative 70 minus square root of 3,300 all over negative 32. And I'm going to put those in my calculator. So negative 70 plus square root 3,300. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to divide by negative 32. And I get positive 0.4. Okay, and then I'm going to do negative 70 minus square root of 3,300 divided by negative 32. And I get 3.98, which is going to round up to 4.0. Okay, so if I'm looking at a graph of this, right, the ball is going to go up, and then it's going to come down. So we're looking for a height of 30 feet. So at 30 feet, right, it's going to hit at time 0.4 seconds. And then it's going to hit 30 feet again on the way down at 4 seconds, 4.0. So this is time in seconds. And this is height in feet. Okay, so it makes sense that there's two answers here. One on the way up, one on the way down. We're rounding to the tens place, which is 1 decimal. Okay, so 0.4 comma 4.0. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing again at 40 feet. Okay, and then you're going to see if it can reach a height of 150 feet.